with that down, let's move on to this, shall we? You know, whenever you're talking about big secret agent, spy franchises, obviously you're going to think Bond and right now Mission Impossible.
Sure.
But one of the other names that's got to come up for you is the Bourne movies. Now, I wasn't a fan of the last Bourne movie where he was basically fighting a fictitious version of Facebook. It was like the evil social media giants. And I don't know, maybe maybe that Bourne movie was a little ahead of its time and was a little prophetic, but I didn't really like that movie very much. But the Bourne franchise is one that I've really enjoyed. And the question has always been, we recently heard in recent months, you know, that Matt Damon even saying, well, maybe there's a chance I come back as Bourne. Who was the director of was it Greengrass?
Oh,
I think it was Greengrass.
The Bourne Identity, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, even
Doug Liman was the Bourne Identity.
I thought it was Paul Greengrass.
I think he was the second one.
Okay, maybe the second or third one, but I think he was definitely on the third. Anyway, saying that even he might come back. So there's been talk, nothing definitive, just maybe some possibilities, some things thrown out there in the ether and stuff like that. Well, according to the Hollywood Reporter, the rights for the Bourne franchise are now up at Universal. And it's up for bids. You guys want to own Bourne? Open up your Chase bank account, see how much you got in there. Maybe you can own the IP of the Bourne Identity, because it is now up for bids. And according to the story, the Jason Bourne franchise is now being shopped around with players like Skydance, who are the new owners of Paramount, Apple, and Netflix. Potential reboot of the spy franchise. They wrote this. Jason Bourne is emptying out his safe deposit box on the Universal lot. WME is shopping the rights to the spy franchise and the rest of the Robert Ludlum library on behalf of the late author's estate. The goal is to find a new home for the franchise and make the super spy a more regular presence on screen. That sounds to me like a television show. Bourne last appeared nearly a decade ago in Jason Bourne, 2016, from Universal and producer Captive Entertainment, which manages the film rights for the Ludlum estate. It is too early to say if longtime star Matt Damon would be involved in the new iteration. All right. So, questions. I've got two primary questions. Primary question number one, wherever the Bourne franchise ends up, is it going to be a continuation or is it a reboot? That's the primary question I have. And listen, I think there are advantages to both. I would love to see Matt Damon return and continue on the story of Jason Bourne. At the same time, I think there are advantages to just fresh start it over again with a new Bourne identity and move on from there. So, but that is the first question for me that has to be answered. That will, of course, all depend on who ends up with the rights. That leads us to the second question. Where's a good home for this? Now, personally, I would love to see this end up at Paramount, because Paramount has been shepherding another super spy franchise and done very well with it. Unless I'm mistaken, but Paramount is the home of Mission Impossible, is it not?
Yeah.
And they've done very well with that. Plus, here's an interesting thing. If you got Jason Bourne over to Paramount, that opens up not the likelihood, but it opens up the possibility of an Ethan and Jason crossover of a Mission Impossible Bourne movie.
Which is more likely than, because I was thinking along those terms, if it went to Amazon, you'd have Bond. They also have Reacher. But I feel like their market's kind of flooded out of it. For competition's sake, I prefer it to be Skydance, but I'll get into that later. But
don't brush over what you just suggested, though. Yeah. That's the other part of this. And so my first choice would be a Paramount. Two reasons. One, because that opens up the possibilities for maybe a Mission Impossible. How great would it be to see Tom Cruise and Matt Damon on screen together? But the other reason is not just because of the crossover, but because I think it would maintain the Bourne identity as a movie presence.
Yeah.
Now, Amazon becomes an interesting option because Amazon does seem to have a commitment to theatrical and television. So I think we would see Bourne movies. And as you said, that then opens up not the likelihood, but the possibility of maybe Reacher and Bourne.
Right.
I don't know if they would want to cross over Bond with anybody.
I don't know.
I think they'd want to keep Bond completely just
Because you're
Bond.
not making Bourne a Felix type character.
Yeah,
so...
but again, it does introduce the option.
Yeah.
The only one of all the by the way, the other option they said is it is still possible Universal may re-win the rights back.
That's true.
So it could go back to Universal. And hey, I'm fine with that too, because other than the one Jason Bourne movie, the most recent one that I didn't like, I do like all the other ones. So that I'd be fine with that too. And it keeps it on the movie screen. We want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's episode, Indeed. Okay, so you just realized your business needed to hire somebody like yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed's sponsored jobs helps you stand out and hire fast. With sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for the right candidates so you can reach the best talent faster. And it works. Indeed's data shows that sponsored jobs get 45% more application than non-sponsored jobs. The thing I'm impressed most with Indeed is how fast it makes hiring. When I was looking to hire somebody for the John Campea Show, the process felt slow and overwhelming. I hate it. I wish I had used Indeed. And you want to know how fast Indeed is? In just the minute that I've been talking to you, 23 hires were made on Indeed worldwide. So don't wait. Speed up your hiring now with Indeed. And for listeners of this show, you get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/Campea. Just go to Indeed.com/Campea and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed here. That's Indeed.com/Campea. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need. The one potential buyer that I do not want to win, somebody in live chat said, Chris Pratt as Bourne. The one, Paul Walter Hauser.
Yeah.
That's Jason Bourne. The one thing I do not want to see come out of this is Netflix getting their hands on it.
That's my hands off too.
And only because they wouldn't make it theatrical, obviously, and that's where I want Bourne to be. And even if they did decide to make Bourne movies, Netflix's movies suck, which leaves them only one option, making Bourne into a TV show. Now look, Reacher is a show.
I'm not.
And it's great.
To it.
Last night's episode was terrific. I loved last night. I watched Severance and then I watched Bourne. I watched Severance and then I watched Reacher last night.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe they do a really good job. I mean, Netflix does a better job with their series than they do with their movies, and maybe they do a really good job. But I really personally want to see Bourne still be a movie series.
Well, I'll tell you one that we didn't mention.
What's that?
And I actually like it. Yesterday I mentioned one of the things that Apple TV Plus doesn't have is IP franchise. They have their own original content. This would be a great stepping stone for them to expand. They do great series. They can put out great movies. I think you could have a series and a movie of Bourne. And it could expand their thing. But I also like the idea of Skydance. So
yeah, I mean, the Apple TV Plus one is also intriguing, right? Because that has several doors open, to your point. Like, they have made great movies. Napoleon, not so much. But like Killers of the Flower Moon.
Yeah.
And they just recently restated
and
that
Wolf,
they've got a commitment to theatrical. But they also do a magnificent job with their television series. Right? Now, again, I want to see them stick to theatrical, but I mean, with Jason Bourne, you could do movies and then spin off characters as series or whatever. So I would say my order of preference would be number one, Skydance / Paramount. That would be my number one option. My number two option, I think, would actually be Amazon. Number three, Apple. No. Number one would be Paramount / Skydance. Number two would be Amazon. Number three would be Universal getting the rights back.
Keeping it.
Number four would be Apple. And then at a very distant fifth, Netflix.
Netflix, yeah.
Again, I love Netflix. I'm not sitting here trying to trash on Netflix. I just don't think this is
But
the
for
right
this
match for them.
IP, yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, that's how I kind of see it. Guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Jason Bourne is on the market. You want to own it? Get some shekels together, go on over and see if you can buy it. Or if not, if you can't afford it, maybe, who do you hope ends up with it? What is the most interesting possibility for you for where Jason Bourne could end up? And if you were in charge and you were doing New Bourne, would you continue on with Matt Damon? Or is it time to refresh and reboot? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.